Welcome to episode 78 of the Slip When We podcast. I'm here with good friend of the podcast, friend of mine, Gabe the Menace Morales. What's going on, champ?
What is up? How you doing, Dan? How you doing?
I'm doing good, bro. Congratulations on the win. For those who don't know, Gabe got a decision victory on the Down and Dirty 4 card. I know you've been getting accustomed to getting quick knockouts, but how was it having to, really think your way through a fight? And how was your experience of the fight as a whole?
Yeah, see, that's the thing. I think everybody expects a knockout, um, and I think kind of getting used to it. That's kind of what you want to do going in. But this fight, I kind of knew my opponent, so I knew he wasn't going to go out easy. So I knew I was going to have a long 6 rounds, and it felt good to get him in. You know what I mean? That was the kind of fight I wanted um, in my hometown to show that I'm a real fighter. I can fight real competition, strong competition, and win.
So what did you feel like was like the hurdle you had to overcome in this one? Because it's somebody like him, he knows you, so he knows some of your moves, some of your tricks. What did you feel like was the biggest challenge of the fight?
Honestly, most of it's all mental. I think that's the biggest challenge in fighting, period. But I think especially for this one, 100%. Just I knew him. We're buddies. Our gym, even though we're buddies, our gym has a little rivalry against each other. So there's a lot behind it that was stuck into my head. You know what I mean? And their camp was trying to get into my head the whole time, so I really had to try to stay focused. And I think that was the hardest thing about this whole experience, was just mentally, and then having it be the first professional fight in my hometown in, I don't
Yeah.
know, 15, 20 years. So I mean, it was a lot. It was a lot to take on, honestly. And I actually had a talk with a coach after one of my sparring sessions. He'll know who it is. I'm not going to drop names, but he said to me, the only person that you have to prove you can do this is yourself. And I thought about that for at least that whole week. You know what I mean? So I mean, yeah, that was like the hardest thing to do. Fighting a friend, all that. It all plays, the crowd, still like a big factor, because it was the main event. And you don't really get main events if it's professional fight. So it was kind of a big deal.
That's a huge deal, bro. I don't even think I
Yeah,
realized that you were the main event of that card. That's incredible, man.
yeah, it was awesome. It was a crazy experience. I don't think there's anything I can go through now that will psych me out, mentally after that.
Do you feel like it was an experience that kind of elevates your game as a whole? Just kind of like you got thrown into the water and you had to swim, and fortunately,
Well, yeah. I mean, not only was it an experience mentally, but it was also a big learning experience for me too. I mean, that wasn't an easy fight. I didn't expect it to be an easy fight at all, but I mean, I definitely could have made it a lot easier than it was. Uh, I just, like I said, it's all mental.
I think a lot of times fans think of fighters as like you take a bunch of stats, like a video game. You take a bunch of stats, you plug it in, and it's like they have this much power, this much strength. But it's like
Right,
you guys aren't robots. So
right.
for you, what percentage of it is like just literally building your body up, and then what percentage of it is just like I got to get this right? You know what I'm saying? To make sure that I know what I'm doing in there.
I mean, a lot of it for me is mental. Um, so I'm probably gonna say 80% mental, and the rest, you know what I mean, is all just grind, your dedication, just everything else that comes into it. But 80% mental, 100%. Um, I think once you can overcome that, I think your talent can show more in the ring. You know what I mean? Because you're not thinking about it. Especially with me. when I think too much, with anything I do, you know what I mean? Even at work, if I'm thinking too much and something simple, it's just go. Like, you know what I'm saying? It wasn't that hard to do, but the mental aspect, once you get a hold of that, I feel like it's just gonna be smooth sailing, depending on your ability, obviously.
I think like a perfect example of what you're talking about is one of the undercard fights from last weekend, Julian Williams fought. And I years ago was like, yo, J Rock's got the goods, man. Like
Yeah,
he can do it all. And the truth is
yeah,
he can. But sometimes when I'm watching him, I feel like he's just thinking too hard or he's trying
yep,
too hard. Like he's just putting too much thought into every move where he's like half a second late. You know what I'm
exactly.
saying? So
Yep, yep.
that's that mental part of the game where if you can overcome that part, then your talent, shines through.
Can shine through, right? Exactly.
So how was the rest of the card?
I got to enjoy probably the first 10 fights because my partner Luke fought 10th, and
Right.
I think there was a total of 14 fights on the card. So after his fight, I went in and kind of focused up. But I mean, the first 10 fights, they were good fights. It was nothing like the local fights that have been going on. These were all competitive. Everyone I talked to or anybody that's came to all of my fights, they always say like the level of competition at this show was you can't beat it. You know what I mean? People are excited, and those are the type of fights people want to see. You know what I mean? People don't want to see one-sided fights. You know what I'm saying? That gets boring. People want to see, people bang out. So and there was a lot of that. You know what I mean? There was a few upsets. Um, the show was a great show.
You get to see my man Chris.
I did, I
He's
did.
good, right?
Yeah, that kid can fight. Yep.
He's a talented
Uh,
guy.
I that whole everything kind of before my fight was kind of a blur. I was just kind of,
Yeah, I'm sure.
you know what I mean, kind of focusing. But yeah, I mean, I can't say nothing bad about the show. It was awesome.
That's crazy, bro. Do you know if you have anything coming up?
So I don't. I think we're looking for January.
I mean,
So sometime January. I don't know. I haven't really talked to the promoter, the team yet, but we're gonna take the holidays, kind of chill, and then still work out, obviously, but kind of get focused back to it January.
it's a quick turnaround, bro. But that's what you've been looking
Yeah, I
for.
mean, next year we're looking to hit it hard, so we're gonna get right on top of it as soon as the new year comes. I cut my hair. You see
Oh
that?
shit.
Yeah. So I'm trying to start a new year, hopefully get out of this mental aspect that I've been going through. I feel like I always go through it every sport. I always go through a slump, and I just have to, take a step back and kind of focus up on everything. uh, and it was kind of the worst time to have a slump. Uh, during the main event, it was a crazy fight. You know what I mean? We were both going back and forth. I definitely think my forward pressure won me the fight 100%. I was stuck in my head mentally and I wasn't moving my feet the way I should. Uh, and after sitting back and watching the fight, I 100% agree that I won that fight, but I wasn't doing, how you can do something, but when you're watching it, it's just like, like, you know what I mean? Why am I doing that? You know what I mean? So I'm trying to sit back and study myself, kind of go back to the basics and, brushing up my game. So the next time that I go in there, I really wow the crowd. I think I wowed them with um, the balls that I have. I think we both did because it was a war. Uh, but I want to show my game. I don't want to show like where I could be. I know I have the talent. I'm not even because I'm not even showing my talent in the ring, and I'm already, making people happy. So once I know what I can do, I'll never get on this show and tell you that I was happy with, my last fight ever. You know
Right.
what I'm saying? Not until, I win a world championship belt. But yeah, I think I'm my hardest critic. Um,
Yeah, I was gonna say, what makes you, or what about the fight made you feel like you're in a slump?
it's not only that fight period, just even like weeks before, like I haven't been sparring the way I can fight. I haven't been using my feet at all. My main trainer, who was my dad, I didn't have him most of this camp because this camp I was just focused on basically cutting weight because I haven't been 130 ever. I don't even remember the last time I was 130 pounds. I didn't even know if I could do it. But the way, things were kind of lined up, it was like in order to get him on a fight, he wanted to be on the card. So the promoter said, we have the only person close to him we have is Morales, and their team was like, we'll take it. So and then I got the call, and I was like, all right, fuck it, I'll take it too. That's kind of perfect. I know the type of fighter Kevin is. I know what he can bring to the table. You know what I mean? That type of fight is what I wanted. You know what I mean? I'm not. I wasn't backing down. I didn't want no fight that I was just gonna walk through the dude and look good. You know what I mean? I wanted that. I wanted that bang out. You know what I mean? I wanted to show everybody that I can sit there with somebody who knows how to fight and knows how to bang, someone like Kevin Style. So yeah, I mean it was perfect. But
Do
I
you think
just
it's
wasn't I
possible?
wasn't moving. I wasn't moving and I just haven't been moving the way I know that I can. That's basically it.
Do you think it's at all possible that some of that's from being getting down to 130?
Yeah, 100%. I think that weight cut killed me because I wasn't like I said I didn't have my trainer, my main trainer that whole time because he was at work in Florida. He drives trucks, so they were doing emergency calls in Florida when they had that storm. So I was just focused on cutting weight. I was running a lot, you know what I mean, doing a lot of cardio. And the cardio ended up winning me the fight, you know what I'm saying? Because I had way more gas than him at the end. Um, but I think that kind of drained me like definitely mentally and 100% physically.
Is getting down to 130, is that something you think you just need to, like, I'm trying to figure out how to put this, something you need to figure how to manage so that it's easier to get down to, or is that just maybe
Yeah,
your weight?
yeah, that's definitely something that I need to learn how not learn how to manage, but gradually manage. You know what I mean? Because my body's I've come to realize my body's just it gets used to being smaller and smaller and smaller because I used to weigh 185 pounds at
Right.
one point. You know what I'm saying? So once I get to one point, I'll stay at that weight for a little bit, and then my body will get used to losing that weight, and then I'll get to another point, and then I'll stay there, and it'll just keep going down and down and down. So right now I'm at like I walk around 145 easy all day. I can walk around 145. I can drop 8 to 10 pounds easy, but 15 pounds is a different story. You know what I'm saying? So I mean, I did it. I came in 129.4 or something like that. And when I heard that, I was just like, wow. I was like, I need to eat. I was like, let's go.
How have you felt like since the fight?
I feel great. You know what I'm saying? Obviously, I've been eating, so I'm probably 140 now. So, and even right now at 140, I feel fast, I feel strong. I've been moving around a lot more, you know what I'm saying, with my feet. I know what I have to do. It's just it's just all a mental game, you know what I mean, and figuring it out. Um, Setting up my shots a little better, coming in, not being so heavy footed, just using my feet. That's the one bad thing about having that knockout power, and knowing you have that knockout power is that you always want to use it.
Right.
But
It's always a
I'm
bailout.
yeah, right. I'm starting to learn that not everything has to be a power shot. You know what I'm saying? You can tap, 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 boom, and then let's set up your shot. So, to me, I'm still green. So I'm still learning as I'm going. And I think just the more I learn, the more dangerous I'm going to be to people. I think that's why everybody around me is kind of nervous, and it is what it is.
Yeah, bro. And I think that's like because you're green, like in a sense, you're also finding your fighting weight still. You know what I'm saying? So you're seeing what works. How low can I go? How much can I maintain a size advantage while keeping the explosiveness and all that? You know what I mean?
Right. I feel like I fight best when I'm like 138, 140 pounds. So if I can weigh in at 135, I'll be fine. And making that 135 weight cake, I can do that in my sleep. So I think that's where I'm going to be focused on a little bit more. I don't think I'm going to do 130, not until at least the summertime, where it's easier to keep the weight off me.
Or if you got like the Oscar Valdez offer.
Right, or like you said, or it's a big offer. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? And I'm ready to take it 100%.
So I mean, have you seen David Morrell?
Yeah,
Dude,
that yeah,
this kid
that
is
was bad.
scary.
Yeah, he is
He's a scary motherfucker.
strong, fast.
Dude, I mean, and obviously, I don't know if you heard about what happened to the opponent.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
know,
yeah.
everybody
That's all
everybody
good.
in boxing is
It's
hoping
crazy.
is hoping the best for him, but um and he fought a great fight too, honestly. I mean, he was definitely losing the whole time, but he was fighting like a
Yeah, he's yep, yep, yep. He was, and that's the thing. That's what makes the sport so dangerous. Is sometimes you can't tell, if somebody's good or not. So that's why protecting these fighters is so important nowadays, at least.
And dude, I mean, what was crazy was like the first maybe 5 rounds or whatever, Morrell was beating him up a little bit, and then he actually won some rounds. He won like 2 or 3 rounds in the middle of the fight. So it was like, he's in the fight. There was the issue with that is a lot of fights. There is kind of an obvious moment where it's like this guy's not winning any rounds. He's not landing anything. He's losing badly. Let's stop the fight. This wasn't that. You know what I'm saying? This guy was
Yeah,
back basically the whole fight until the 12th round. So it was,
right,
there wasn't if his corner had stopped it. But there was never an obvious moment for the ref to jump in until he did.
right, right. That's crazy, man. Busting to his family. That's nuts. I couldn't even imagine.
It's a real reality check. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, 100%. Everybody, you gotta defend yourself at all times.
Yeah. Yeah. That's not just like a phrase for refs.
Yeah, right, right.
How did
But
you feel? How did you feel overall about Dimitri Bivol's win over Zordo?
I didn't get to watch the fight because it was at a weird time. But I got to see like bits and pieces of it. Um, I think it was a good fight. I think it was all right fight. From what I seen, um, I think I think Bivol is a serious competitor in the game. I can't really put too much input on that fight, but you know what What happened? Honestly,
I mean, most of the fight, it was a decent fight. I think Bivol is really tricky because he's got that explosive timing, but
yeah,
he's not always that active. So it comes out of nowhere. Like he's jabbing and moving and he's doing his move around the ring thing. And then he'll just rip an 8 punch combination and they'll all land and they're not pitter patter. So it's like I think he gets guys to a point where they keep their hands in their pockets because they don't know what he's gonna do. And then
you think he confuses them? You think he tires them out and confuses them?
yeah, and then it's like the Floyd thing where it's like guys get tired of missing. They get tired
Yeah,
of missing every punch they're throwing, and then if they land something, it's on glove or on the elbow. He's so tricky to hit, and his timing is really weird. And I think Ramirez was just kind of like out of his depth.
yeah. How do you feel about him and Artur Benavidez?
Dude, I mean, that's for like the fans. If you're a hardcore, I think that's like
Right.
maybe the best fight in boxing right now.
That's gonna be a crazy fight.
And I'm dying to see like what happens when Bivol fights a guy that's his size that has a really good boxing IQ also.
Exactly, and that can hit just as hard. All
Harder.
that,
I think
yeah,
Benavidez hits
yeah,
harder.
yeah. Oh yeah, yeah. That fight's gonna be one for the books. I think everybody should watch that fight.
That's like the Spence Crawford of the higher weights, basically, I think.
Yeah, yeah, 100%,
And
hundred
I think
percent.
it's
How hopefully that fight falls through. I'm like that. You know what I'm talking about.
I do, man. And the other comparison I was making with the ITR guys the other day was like, we didn't get Sergey Kovalev and Adonis Stevenson. And
Yeah.
for a couple of years, that was like the fight. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying?
Mhm.
And they
I
kind of
remember you
waited
saying
each
that.
other
Yep.
out, and then Stevenson obviously gets stopped and has to retire. Kovalev loses a couple fights, and the fight loses its meaning. But I think,
Right.
and also Beterbiev 38, so they gotta. I
Oh,
don't.
he's that old.
Yeah, dude,
Holy shit.
he just don't show it.
Yeah.
He's a freak.
I know. That's crazy. That's crazy. How old Duval?
I don't. I think he's like early 30s. Let me look real quick. But
Okay.
he's got an age advantage. That's
Yeah,
probably
100%. He's definitely younger.
he is 31. Better be it. Let's see if I'm wrong about that. I thought I heard that on a podcast. He's 37.
Hey, you were close.
So I mean, bro,
You
like
were close.
he's not a young kid. Obviously, he hasn't taken really like any punishment in his career. Um, but I just think that's one of those fights where it's like the time is now. I think for the most part, I mean, it seems like most people feel like Bivol's gonna beat Canelo in a rematch. So
I, if they're fighting at the Saturday, you get a fight at the same weight. Yeah, yeah.
I would
I
think
don't. Yeah, I don't. I see him beating Canelo again, just off the weight. I know, just off pure experience. I know that that's
it's
a
just
big
anytime
a
would
big
hit him,
aspect.
anytime
It
Canelo
didn't it
would hit
didn't
him,
phase him.
it looked like he was hitting a sandbag or something. Like it just
Yeah.
didn't have the impact that his punches always have.
Now, what do you what do you feel about I'm reading right here. I kind of agree with it. That Teofimo Lopez says that Shakur Stevenson will do better than Devin Haney at 135.
I mean, I think Shakur is.
I don't.
I mean, I think generally Shakur is going to be a guy that's around for a really long time, but better at 135. I mean, I think potentially Shakur is the best fighter in the world. He just hasn't had
Yeah,
like, the fights
I
to.
agree. I
And
agree.
I think Haney's a great boxer. I think he's incredible. But
I think he. You think he needs to go? He needs to go up.
yeah, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He needs to go up.
I didn't like how he was moving in the last Kambosos fight. Like he dominated the fight, but the first couple rounds, he was like dry for
Well,
3 rounds.
I feel like maybe I don't know. Maybe he went in thinking, you know what I mean. He could do it easy again. I don't know, but yeah, he definitely didn't look like he did in that first fight, that second fight.
Which is, and I think also was why he was more stationary. So it was a little more of a like a physical fight.
Right, it played more into Cambosis's game.
Yeah, and
100%.
he
Yeah,
still dominated the fight, but I think like when you look at him in the first Kambosos fight, that guy is really tricky to beat.
yeah, yeah. Nobody can say no one can say otherwise. That jab, just he beat Cambosis off the jab alone,
Yeah. And I
and
think like he's also Devin's a guy that he's never going to get all of the credit for those wins because he's not real accessible to casual fans. But if you know what you're looking at, that shit's hard to do.
yeah, I got another question for you that I've actually been wanting to ask you. Caleb Plant versus Benavides.
Bro, let's fucking
Let's go. I need that one.
That's one of the like if I'm putting together the 10 fights I want to make, that's been one of them for a couple of years now. And
Yeah.
I'm glad they're finally just gonna fucking do it. Especially when we don't get Spence Crawford, like, and now there's some fights getting signed. It's
Caleb Plant is on a mission.
yeah,
I'll tell you that he is on a mission. After that, that Canelo fight opened a lot of doors for him because I don't think not many people knew who he was before. Well, obviously hardcore boxing fans did, but you get different eyes on you when you fight Canelo. You get more than just boxing eyes on you when you fight Canelo. And Caleb Plant has, everything to be a star in my books. So I mean, I'm rooting for him in that fight. I'm such a Caleb Plant fan, honestly.
bro, I think he's great and I think he's
It's
got
gonna
great.
be a tough. It's gonna be a tough fight.
I'm wondering how he's gonna handle the activity because
Yeah, the pressure.
Darrell gave him a lot of room to work. I got to
Mhm.
watch that fight finally recently. Darrell gave him way too much room to do what he does best, and
Yep.
and I don't think David's going to give him any of that room. So then what? You
Right.
know, is he going to fight
Right.
him on the
It's gonna
inside?
it's gonna force you to fight. It's gonna force you to fight and not, dance and be a speedy guy and move around. He's gonna have to sit there and I think I think it's gonna be a big test for him.
Well, and he might be able to, but again, like in the Darrell fight, I just wanted to see him jab more. I wanted to. There was obviously the knockout was amazing and he performed,
Right.
but I was like, if I'm looking at him as fighting David, that jab's got to be
That's not gonna work. Yeah.
He's
Yeah.
he's just got to be busier with maybe the same approach, but he's not going to have the room to breathe. So but that's why it's a great fight. It's a 50-50 fight because David's never had that elite fight. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Right. No, it's gonna be a great fight. I got excited when I saw that.
Yeah, that's one that is long overdue too.
Yeah. Yeah. 100%. I think that whole weight class just needs to to follow the footsteps of Caleb Plant. I mean, this guy's taking on whoever. I think it's awesome. I think that's what the sport needs.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think it's really important that like everybody can't get the Canelo fight at the same time. Everybody can't get a Floyd fight at the same time. You know what
Right.
I'm saying? And but that's like everyone's trying to get the sweepstakes fight. How are we gonna get that 100 milli real quick?
Right.
And you can do it like what Jamal Charlo's doing and not fight for 2 years, or you can fight your contemporaries and make yourself like a standout.
Right. Work your way to it. Right.
I've always been frustrated by the fact that Jamal just doesn't fight.
Yeah. It's it gets a little ridiculous to the point where how long has it been?
I joked 2 years, but let's see how long it's actually been. It can't
Two,
be
two
less.
years sounds about right.
Well, Charlo. And Jamel's obviously pretty active. Um, June of 21. So a year and a half. It's also a year and a half out of his prime.
I don't know. I don't know what's going on. What's his reasoning? Is he giving any reasoning? I'm still not hip to that whole Charlo situation.
I'm not really either. Just as a fan, I'm looking at the inactivity. I'm looking at somebody who's, 30, 31 years old in their physical prime, and they're wasting a lot of their prime
Right.
being inactive. You know what I'm saying?
Well, I mean, it's probably a money situation because that's what it mostly comes down to. I mean, these people gotta understand that boxing is known for being a poor man's sport. So, I mean, me personally, I'm a fighter that you can pay me $100 and I'm gonna go out there and fight. You know what I mean? Where I'm at right now, I don't give a fuck what I'm getting paid. I can see when you're getting to that level of competition, you get those nerves of because nobody wants to lose their undefeated record. So that probably plays a big part of it. But I mean, if money's an issue, then I mean, you don't want to fight. You know what I'm saying? That's what it's about. You don't want to fight.
Right. Or you've at least lost the drive. Because what
Right.
you're
There's
talking
no
about,
drive.
you have that in you where it's like if that bell rings, like you're gonna answer that.
Right.
It
There's
doesn't matter
there's
what the check
no
is.
there's money signs is not going to change my mind.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? It's not
Yeah,
going to be that guy that went viral for just walking out of the fucking out of the ring. You've seen that,
bro, that was
right?
wild.
Yeah, I'm not. I don't know, but boxing is what I'm coming to learn is boxing is definitely a business, and um it's every man for himself. I mean, you're just gonna do whatever you feel like you should do, and if that's what he feels like he needs to do is sit out and just wait for the big money, then I mean, God willing, I mean,
But I also feel like people forget. There's a lot of talent in boxing, and if the fans don't see you, it's like only guys like us that
they're
remember.
gonna forget. Yeah, exactly. People are gonna forget you real easy.
And then the man goes down. Like that's always been my issue with Keith Thurman. Is like Keith is one of my favorite fighters, and I don't understand why I see him once every year and a half, 2 years.
Right, right. How old is he? How old is he?
Keith Thurman.
Yeah.
Let's see. I want to
Yeah,
say.
he has a doesn't he have a fight coming up? Did I see something?
I don't think so, man.
I don't think I don't see why he would, but I thought I saw something.
He's 33. I mean, the fight that I'm hoping he gets is the fight with Errol. You know,
Yeah. I I think he's a great fighter. He's
he's
only
fantastic.
33.
He's fucking great.
He's only 33.
Yep.
I thought he was a lot older than that.
But that's also why he could still maybe do some. But you go down his box rank. The Barrios fight was his last fight. That was in February, which is a while ago now.
Mhm.
And then before that, it was the Manny fight, which was July of 2019.
Mhm.
So,
Yeah. He I would like to see him be a little bit more active too. Yeah, for sure.
and I get I get more because he's actually fought like Sean
I feel like he's kind of like that world class gatekeeper, so to speak. You know what I mean?
which is a shame because I think he's more
It
talented
it
than that.
is a shame. It is a shame because he's a lot more talented than that. But I feel like that's how he's portrayed in the sport of boxing. You know what I mean?
Everyone at welterweight is like if they can't get the big fight, well, I guess I could fight
I
for
guess
it.
I'll fight Keith Thurman. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and he
why
literally lost.
why is that? Why is that?
Because he doesn't fight. That's the issue. He doesn't fight, and you know, and he doesn't have a belt anymore. He lost to
Yeah.
Manny, so he doesn't have leverage. And people, I mean, look, the Danny Garcia fight was in 2017, right? He's had
Mhm.
3 fights since then.
Yeah.
There's what, three
Yeah.
times in the last 5 years.
Yeah. Yeah. It's less than a fight a year. One fight a year.
What are you gonna do with that?
Yeah. Nah, I hear you. I hear you. But what do you? So you want to see him fight who next?
I think him and Spence is the fight, and I think the reason,
Thurman and Spence.
yeah, they're both PBC. Obviously, the Terrence fight is not going to happen with Spence right now.
Yeah.
You know, Arrow has Keith's old belt, and he never had to fight Keith to get it. So, I mean, I think that's the
That
fight.
makes sense. Yeah.
And if they wait another year, nobody's going to give a fuck. If they do it now, people will care.
Yep.
I think.
Yep. No, 100%. I
And,
agree with you.
and I think that's like, obviously, like, if I'm thinking cool matchups, Keith and Boots is a great fight, like Keith and Rashidi Ellis. But I think Keith deserves that big fight, and I get why he wouldn't want to take something that isn't that.
Right. Right. Nah, that would be a good fight. 100%. I think I think Spence comes on top for that one too.
I do too. But I think if Keith came
I
in at 100%, even if
Yeah.
he lost, it would define his legacy if he gave a prime Errol Spence problems.
Yeah, because every time Keith Thurman gets in the ring, he gives everyone problems.
Right.
So
Right.
it was just, it's just, I think that would be a good test for Spence. You know what I mean? Just to see if he can handle that type of pressure that Keith Thurman can put on.
And just somebody who's that athletic. Keith's a
Mhm.
super athletic guy. He's got that explosive, like, jumping power.
Right, right.
It's an interesting matchup. Um,
I gotta go back and watch that whole card anyway. I still have to watch that fight.
it's it's worth watching because I think, like, the other thing too is, I think personally, I think Bivol's #1 pound for pound. I don't think he's getting his flowers like he should.
Yeah, yeah.
And I think it's just because he doesn't have that name recognition. But I mean, you keep what you kill, man. And he beat Canelo, and he just
Right.
45-0 contender.
I feel like as long as he keeps doing as long as he keeps doing what he's doing, I think he'll be fine. I think his legacy will stand out, and I think he'll definitely be known more probably within the next 3 fights.
100%.
Yeah,
100%.
yeah,
Um, well, champ, I'm gonna let you catch your Z's.
yeah. I'm fucking beat.
I'm gonna let you catch your Z's. I'm gonna catch some Z's myself.
Yeah,
Pretty fucking cooked.
man. It's good
Is there
talking to you.
is there anyone, anything, anybody you want to shout out before we wrap this one up?
Um, yeah, obviously I want to shout out, my whole team, my family, all my sponsors. Without you guys, it wouldn't be possible. It would be possible, but it makes my job a lot easier. I appreciate you guys a lot and everything you do. Um, and I appreciate you, Dakota. Thank you for putting me on the podcast and having this chat with me. It's always a big pleasure. And that's it, man. You know what I mean? I'm just gonna keep working and doing what I'm doing. Thank you to all my supporters. Um, Without you guys, it's hard to have the drive. Um, yeah, that's it.
Well, champ, get some rest. Fucking, and we look forward to seeing you back in the ring again in January.
Yes, sir. I'll hit you up soon, bro.
We'll talk soon.
All
All right.
right, bro. All right.
Congratulations.
Peace. Thank you.